Okay, Gianna, what lessons do you have for us today?
Well, I'm going to do 3 little objects that people can paint, well, drawing and painting pretty well, and it's going to be all about edges.
Okay.
I'm always about edges.
Edges.
It's, one edge meeting another, and I think this is, always...
So we're on the edge.
Really. So we'll do 3 items, and one of them is going to be an orange with a little shadow, that sort of thing, so I'm going to be doing that. Then I'm going to do a little boat with reflections.
Oh, I love boats.
It's going to be, they're simple little things, but they're for beginners.
Right.
But I think they're going to work.
Okay.
Yeah, so, okay, let's just get at it.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, let's see what you got up your sleeve.
Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 leaves, just 2 simple little leaves.
What kind of leaves?
Just an ordinary apple tree or
all right,
like that.
Apple Gravenstein.
Yeah, all right. Why I'm going to do it is because I want to get it so that people know how to do a distance between one object and another.
All right.
We're working on a 1-dimensional surface, so we want to make it look 3-dimensional.
Right.
And it's also about defining an edge, which will be the hard edge, and then the soft edge is going to be the shadow underneath it. So I'm just going to do...
Is that your favorite pencil?
Well, I kind of like the lumber pencil.
I see that.
Yeah, and I kind of like it. Yeah, it kind of does all I want to do it. So anyway, I'm just going to start with this, and we're just going to draw it in, just a ordinary little leaf like that. Right. But underneath it is going to be another one. It's going to come, and it's going to come out like it's overlapped.
Yes.
Okay, so like that. Now, what I want people to do, this is really quite fun to do. Leaves, of course, are generally green unless it's in the fall. But what we're going to do with this one, I'm going to variegate the colors, if you like, so that what I call the integrity of color. In other words, I like to see the yellow and the green come through. So I'm going to wet this, and then I'm going to drop those 2 colors in there. And the leaf is going to kind of paint itself.
All right.
So we're going to start with that. So I'm going to, I don't want it terribly, terribly wet, because I don't want it to take forever to dry. So I'm going to just wet that little leaf just like that.
There's a little bit of green in your brush.
I know it is.
You didn't clean your brush up. Bad.
Oh, I know.
The one thing about watercolor, though, it doesn't ruin your brush.
It doesn't really. No, it does not. So I'm going to throw a little yellow in there, you see.
Okay. What yellow is that?
That is New Gamboge by Winsor Newton.
Okay, I figured that.
Yeah.
I was just testing.
Yeah, just to see if I knew. Yeah. All right, so now I'm taking my beautiful green that I use for most of the foliage, and that is Prussian blue. Then I mix it.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of leave it a little bit, some of that yellow shining through. So we're going to do that, like so. So you see how some of that yellow is shining through?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to just peel that around like that. There we are. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to clean my brush off, and I'm just going to go underneath here. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave a little bit of white, because I don't kind of want it to bleed right at the moment. That's not always the case, but in this case, because of what I want to show you,
right,
I'm going to leave it that way. This is such a fun exercise. And you know what? People say I don't have time to paint always, or I do this and I do that. Yeah. And I understand that. So I'll say, well, do you watch TV? Because what you can do, and I have done this with a sketchbook. I'll sit there like this when the commercials come on. Like nowadays, of course, you can just do whatever you do with them. But I can sit there with a sketchbook or just this, and I can paint this little object here. And then the commercial comes on.
Yes.
That gives it, and then the program comes on. That gives it time to dry.
Okay.
And then you can go back at it again, you see.
All right.
All right, now I take my brush and I clean it off and take off the excess water.
Yes.
That is going to be damp.
Yes.
And so what I'm doing with a damp brush, I'm just going to go like this.
Oh, how nice!
And so it separates. It's like it's a deliberate kind of
the stem.
blossom.
What is part? What do they call it?
They call them the veins.
The veins.
They call it the veins.
So how could I not know that?
I don't know. So every time when I do this, but the paper has to be damp to do that. If it's too wet, it's going to go splits.
Yes.
That's the technical word for it. And then I'm going to put the veins in.
Oh, well.
Watch this now.
Nifty, nifty.
Isn't it nifty?
By the way, I must tell you, James is, he's been coming since he was a little fellow at Peggy of the Cove.
Yes.
And he's been painting, and he even did a Peggy painting. You know, the last picture in the children's book is Peggy standing out on the shore, looking out, wondering who she is and where she's from. And he did an oil for me, and it's hanging up above the bed in the Peggy room.
Oh, take
He
a
was so
picture.
impressed with every year. He's now like, he must be 18 or 19. And every year he comes, and he's been watching my tutorials. And last night I got an email. He said, I just love that fishing village demonstration that you did.
Oh, isn't it lovely?
So
Thank
that
you
was
for
right.
that feedback.
So I thought you'd
That's
like that.
lovely.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this with this one as well, but
Okay.
because I want to put a shadow under here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the blue, which is my Prussian blue,
All right.
and I'm going to increase the pigment.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to
What's
do. So
this
it's going
flavor
to be
or this consistency?
this consistency would be, it's not quite whipping cream, but it's pretty close. Hey, you laugh at that, don't you? Yeah. You laugh at my terms.
Well,
I know, they're all food.
in
They work.
in respect.
They do. They do. Now, there's a little bit too much water on my brush, so sometimes... Oh, can you see this? Let me just take that out.
Okay.
All right. Underneath here is where this leaf... I want to have a distance between this leaf and this leaf. So I'm going to go right underneath there,
And make
like
it
that.
Mmm.
Now, it's lovely and dark, isn't it? Isn't that rich and beautiful?
Oh, yeah.
So now I'm going to bring that down a little bit, but I don't want that edge to be even that hard. It's not really hard, but so that's the shadow that's going on there. I'm going to take my brush, clean it off, take off the excess water. Now, if I put water on here, because that is damp, I'm actually going to pick up that pigment underneath there. So I don't want to do that.
All right.
So what I do is I go back to what is called local color. And that's what this green is. It's called local color.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to soften the edge using that.
Oh, isn't
You
that
see?
nifty?
So I'm going to just soften
You're
that
really
edge.
technical.
Oh yes, yeah, technical me. There. So now I can use just water. I just want to see what I'm doing with this brush. Just carefully, very, very carefully taking those little water droplets and doing that with it.
Very
Now,
good.
isn't that fun?
Oh, yeah.
I know. So that I want to dry just a little
Didn't that
bit.
make it sing?
Doesn't that make it sing? Yeah, it really does. I love it. That could be even just a tiny bit softer. It's just tickling the edge of it, you know. All these technical terms, you know, that you're hearing. And I'm going to let that dry a little bit while I go on to the next thing that I want to do, which is very similar to this. Because doing this kind of thing and this edge here, what happens to is if we do it too hard, we pick up the pigment underneath it.
Right.
And I don't want to do that. Now I'm going to put the vein in here. So I think what I'm going to do. This is a little bit too wet to do exactly that, but it'll work a little. So I'm actually lifting.
Yes.
So then I'm going to take that green.
Oh.
So I've got a negative positive going on.
Isn't that nifty?
Isn't that neat?
Yep.
And so then I'm going to do the same thing here.
You must have done this before.
I've just one or two. Yeah. So one or two. So I'm just going to lift that, and I take my brush off all the time. I call this. It's like a mop, really.
Yeah.
You know, if I was mopping the floor, I'd have to squeeze the mop out before yeah. Okay, so I keep doing that, and then I'm going to do another one down here. Can't have too much water on the brush right there.
That'll make a mess.
Yeah, it will. So I keep cleaning. You have to have a clean brush to do this, and then you're lifting it there. Well, right now we're just doing that little bit of drawing. So we see how we got a negative, positive going on. There's the negative, if you like. This is positive. That's a negative and positive, and that's kind of how that works. Now, this little stroke right here, what I'm doing right here, is really very useful because it'll turn up in with lights and darks. For example, if I were doing a tree, let me just quickly show you what I mean by this. I start off if I were doing a tree, and it would be like light. Like this, as I did there. And this is a lot of leaves, so I'm doing them as a shape. And say the light is coming from this direction. So over here, what's going to be, This is like the underside of it. I'm
The
just going to
darks.
increase that pigment and then do this sort of thing.
Yes.
You see how that works?
Yes.
So that's just like a leafy green thing. Leafy green thing. And then I take a little bit of no-name, I call it no-name color. A little bit of burnt sienna and ultramarine blue does a nice little job here of just making kind of a gray. And then we have, if this was going to be a branch, you see what would happen.
Right.
So that's the kind of the reason why, like knowing how to do this, then you learn how to do this kind of thing.
Right.
And then you keep increasing the pigment until you get exactly what you want and softening edges and all that stuff. See? It works, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is it doesn't have to be really an orange, but I'm going to do an orange because I want to.
All right. Well, that's the thing.
What do you think about that?
I think, see, when you're in the mood, people that aren't artists don't understand.
With like the orange
Yeah,
caper.
when it hits you, you
It
do it.
just hits you, doesn't it?
And it doesn't matter if it's boats or waves or oranges
No,
or
it
apples or
doesn't.
whatever. When you got to do it when you hit
You just
like
do.
Bob Dietz used to say, you got to hit the iron while she's hot.
That's what you have to do. All right, so this is, in a sense, I wanted to do orange because I want to show people like the shadow in orange. And here we just increase the pigment,
Right.
and which is really worked very, very well. Sometimes I'll use a complementary color if I want to make it a little bit more subtle. But
Right.
this is really working, and I'd like people to try to do this one
Okay.
because this in here is a ton of information that would work for people if they want to continue with this career.
All right.
You have painting.
Yes.
Now I'm going to do the same thing as I did with this leaf. I'm going to wet it first. I'm going to wet this little orange. This is actually just a little
That's not
orange.
an orange. That's a green.
I know, but it'll take care of it. I know. I've got a little bit of green in there. I don't know why I'm picking up something from somewhere. Now, what I just want to mention this is that you can wet something too much.
Yes.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that. I want to wet that enough, then take that back. Now, cadmium orange is an absolutely amazing color, and I think I could either use that, but I'm going to do something a little differently. I'm going to take yellow and red and mix it that way.
All right.
I'm going to take gamboge, new gamboge here, and I'm going to take permanent rose because they're both beautifully transparent. And I'm going to make this gorgeous orange here.
And what consistency is this?
This is going to be pretty much the same thing. We're getting up there a little bit.
So this is not skim milk.
No, it's probably closer to homogenized milk. So I'm going to put that in. Isn't that a gorgeous color? Oh, isn't that just beautiful?
Yummy, yummy.
Now this is going to be the lightest light. You're going to see how I'm going to get highlight in a second. So I'm going to paint the whole thing in. All like that. Like so.
Nothing to it, is it?
Nothing to it, really.
What's that
No.
hair there?
Oh, that's extra. All right. So that's all filled in like that.
Yeah.
Now the light is going to come from this direction.
All right.
So therefore, there's always that reason.
I know.
With that orange, I'm going to use, if I use burnt sienna, that's going to be like a dull orange.
Okay.
So I'm going to use that
Must be.
at first. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more of that orange to it. So it stays orange. Do you know? So
Alright.
it's not, it just ups the
Yeah.
ante a little bit, but I want to have it so it's fairly thick. Now the reason why it's thick now, you see how the consistency of that
know.
is different than that, is because this is wet.
Right.
And if I don't have it thick, it will
Yeah.
go all over the place, and I don't want it to. So on this side, this is going to be the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
This is the dark side. Oh, yeah. And so I'm carefully putting that in. This is going to be dark. And as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm heading towards the
Yes,
light.
yes.
Do you see this edge right here?
Yes.
That is what I love to have happen when I'm doing foliage and things like that. Now, as I come towards this edge up here, it's going to be a little bit lighter.
Of course. It's round.
And of course, I can do that because a lot of this pigment now is leaving my brush. So I'm just adding a little bit more just down in there, taking that off, working towards this. This is, when you're working wet into wet like this, you kind of have to be a bit careful.
Mm-hmm.
All right, take my brush, clean it off, take off the excess water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a highlight right here.
Oh.
So see how I did that?
Yep.
With the veins. Now what I'm going to do is a highlight. My brush is almost dry. It's like it's just damp
Right.
to be able to do this. So right in here, I'm going to lift that to make that highlight, and I'm going to take my brush, clean it up, take off the excess water, and do it again. It was so much fun, I'm going to do it twice. And then I want to make those edges
Soft.
look like they're going to be just a little bit lighter around the edge. Now that gives it a rounded look, you see.
That's right.
Now, it's not quite dark enough here. I want that just a little bit darker. So I'm going to take this orange, and its complementary color is blue, and I'm going to actually add a little bit.
Oh.
Oh, I know, I tell you, I'm just rolled it this morning. So I'm going to make my orange here, again with permanent rose. So I'm using my cool red. Sometimes I use the warm red, but I'm using the cool red because it's such a gorgeous red. And then I'm going to go, I don't clean my brush off.
I see.
Because I don't want to lose the pigment.
I
you
know.
See. Yes. Okay. As long as you know.
I know. I understand.
Oh, I know you do. So I'm going to go in here now. Now this is going to dull it, as you can see. It's going to dull it. So I'm going to just keep working it till I get it. Now that is a really, really neat. You can see it's. See how much darker that is?
Yeah.
And I really want that rich and dark, just like
Yep,
this.
yep.
So I go in there, and you see I'm very carefully putting it in because I don't want to lift what's underneath it. I want to keep that pretty much as it is. And then I've got dark value,
Yes.
mid value,
Yeah.
and then I've got this very light over here. Now I'm going to take my brush, clean it off. There we go. There's that magic
Yeah.
step again. And I'm going to very, very carefully. And when I don't just use the tip of the brush, I actually use all the brush. You see what I'm doing here? So I'm going into it, pulling it up very gently, very carefully, very gingerly. I know. It's just such a beautiful encounter.
Yeah, oh boy.
It really is. I know. I mean, really. So there we have
All right.
this little orange or whatever it is.
No.
Now what's really fun, so if the light is coming from this direction, which it is,
Yeah.
I'm just going to go back in there and lighten that just a little bit more. I'm kind of drilling it in there
Yeah.
and lifting. I don't want to make it look like a hole in it. Underneath here, I'm going to
that's what
take this color and I'm going to just put a shadow underneath
Yeah,
it.
that's what I want to see.
I bet you do. So I'm going to take some ultramarine blue. Just a little bit of, oh my goodness, it's dirty. How could that happen?
I don't have a clue.
Oh, still dirty. Oh, we'll get her clean
that
in a
was
minute.
from that orange you had
It
there.
could be. Okay, there we are. We're getting it now. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take just a little bit of the burnt sienna, but instead of taking the burnt sienna, I'm going to take a little bit of this because I'm just going to neutralize it because there will be, see, it's kind of a blacky green now.
Yeah. I remember when I was in grade 4, Hazel Herman was our teacher, and we didn't do anything but fight, play, and carve and paint. And she says one day, "Today we'll paint." I said, "Oh, good, I'm painting the lake." She says, "Now you remember, water's always darker than the sky, and reflections have a blue cast." Well, I didn't know what the word cast meant, so I'm thinking, I remember reflections, green trees reflecting blue, because I painted Fraser's Lake behind the United Church. That's where the school was.
Yeah.
So I made my see the blue on your bottom of your pad there.
Yeah.
I made the reflections that color. And she said they have a blue cast. Well, all I'm hearing is blue.
Makes sense.
But it had a blue cast, so I didn't. It was rather funny looking at it, but I didn't understand it. Now I know that shadows have a blue cast.
They do.
So I'm anxious to see
Sometimes
your
even-
blue
but
cast.
This is his blue cast here. There's a couple of things I could do. If I wanted to look like if that were in space, I could do a shadow just down like this, and it would look like it's floating.
That's right.
So that's fun. So people play with that because it really is really fun.
So is this on a table?
This is going to be on a table.
Okay.
Though. Yeah. So what I'm going to do here, but it wouldn't be the shape of that unless it was backlit.
Right.
But what I'm going to do is see where the light is hitting there.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That's going to influence what I'm doing
Yes,
here.
yes.
So I'm going to just start right in here, and I'm going to make this little. Now that's a little bit. Yeah,
Ooh.
it is, but I want a little bluer than that. That's a little bit gray for me. And I'm going to make this little. Now that's a little bit. Yeah, it is, but I want a little bluer than that. That's a little bit gray for me. 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 That'll be a bit, but okay, so this is going to be like this, just like that.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Oh. And it's going to have this slant to it. It's not going to be as round as that is. So there you have.
Because of the light.
Isn't that neat? And so that's what's happening to that little shadow there.
Ah.
Now sometimes what I like to do is take my brush, clean it up, take off the excess water, because at the end of it, this is usually the darkest dark, because that's where it's close.
Right.
I like to just put a little bit of soft edge.
Right.
Because hard soft edges are just wonderful things. They just give a glow to things. I like that. So it doesn't have to be as dark as all that, so I'm just doing that with it. Just there. And then just at the beginning of this, I'm just going to throw in a little bit more of this ultramarine blue. This is a beautiful color, ultramarine blue. Just beautiful.
I'm a blue person.
Are you a blue person?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm too, actually.
Very good.
Isn't that nice? So we've got this. You see how there's very similar here and here and here, and so that's what we're doing with that. Now the third thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to do this little boat.
Oh, now
and it's going to be I know it's going to be so much fun. You got it. It's going to be a little red boat. With enough reflection so you can see that it's on the water, and I'm going to spend some time with reflections.
Right.
I have found with my students often they'll say this, that just do a lesson on reflections.
Yeah.
And I can understand that they could be tricky because we get them mixed up.
Yes.
I know the light affects reflection, but it's always a mirror image. But with shadows they move.
Right.
You know, with reflections they don't, unless they're up and down, as I say, depending on the time of day.
Right.
But with reflections, but it can be confusing. Okay, the little boat that I'm going to do this little rowboat. And I'm going to show you how I do it. I can do it this way. It might be easier if I teach you this little method that I have. I put a dot here. It's going to be a dot here.
Do you know that I had my own boat when I was 11?
Did you really?
Uncle Jimmy built it for $60. You know, it was the general store in Seabright.
Oh, right.
You know,
oh, yeah.
He built that, and he built my boat in the basement. And I saved my money and I ran errands and did all this stuff. And I remember the day he delivered it. It was Friday, because he delivered groceries on Friday. And it was 11 and a half feet, and it was red on the bottom, white on the top.
Well, this one's going to be red on the side.
Okay.
So what this is?
It was on the side, like halfway. He had a little strip going through, so the bottom half was red and the top half.
Oh, fun.
And so I love boats.
Oh, I do too.
I'm anxious to see yours.
Okay, well, this is just a little boat.
So is mine.
But this one, because I'm facing this boat, this one's going to have a little curve on it, just like this. There's a little curve right there.
Okay.
But this one on the other side is not going to be quite as curved.
No, that's right.
You know?
Yes.
So I'm going to put a little line out because it's going to be a bit of a kind of a rowboat, and then that one's going to be a little straighter.
Right.
So we've got this kind of oval shape.
Yes.
Like it would be if it were an oval, you just cut the end off.
Yes, that's right.
That's what you do. So this one down in here now, this is going to be longer. It's going to be longer in the front and shorter in the back. That's a little bit of that little lesson that we've got. So let's do that, because I'm kind of looking in the boat.
All right.
And this one is going to be not as long.
Right.
And then I'm going to just join the dots, you see.
Right.
This is just a simple little boat.
Right.
Now inside it, we're going to have the
seats.
The seats, of course. And I just do a couple. Just kind of like that. That'll do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a simple little boat, but it's a very simple drawing,
right.
and it's a good one to start with. I can certainly do cape boats and all that kind of thing. We can do them bigger if we want to.
But we're just wanting reflections, aren't you?
We just want reflections. Now what would happen, so here we are in the water, if you like. This is going to reflect this way. This will do this. And so I do this kind of thing. And then this is going to do that. And then I'm going to just do some little curves right. Down like so, you see. All right. So inside, the boat is going to be lighter than this, but this is going to be red. So I'm going to do this in this lovely permanent red that I have. I've used permanent rose so far, but now I'm doing permanent red. So we've gone to a warm red.
All right.
I just want you to see the difference. We did that last time we were together. So remember that was the warm red, and this was the cool red. You see, there's just a little bit of difference. This one doesn't feel quite as orange as this one does, if you like.
Right.
So this is almost orange. So I'm going to put that down in here, but the light is going to come from this direction.
Okay.
So I'm going to make a little bit of a dark
Right.
on this side. So I'm going to do this. Now reflections is really quite interesting. If a reflection, if an object is dark, it's going to reflect lighter. It's odd that way. I think I should have done this a little bigger. I'm not very generous with my...
Yeah, you're scrimping on your paint.
I am really. Anyway, I may do another one, Ivan, because this is really quite small. But what I want, there's an individual, there's a little part in here that I want people to get, and I'm going to do this reflection here.
Yes.
I'm going to make that just a little bit stronger, and I'm not going to fill it all in. I'm going to make it feel like it's moving water. Yeah. So that's done there. And then I'm going to take some burnt sienna.
Yes.
You know, because that's my dark red,
right,
isn't it? And I'm even going to put a little bit of blue in it, which is the ultramarine blue. Now that's that thickness because I'm working with a wet area. Right underneath here is going to be dark.
Yeah.
And you see that didn't bleed badly.
Because it's thick.
It's thick. It's thick. Let's put a nice little, even a little bit darker, just in here. All right. And then inside, let's do this just simple. I'm just going to do some little dark lines just in here. And then this is going to be the ribs. And then we've got the little benches underneath here, and there's going to be a little bit dark underneath there.
For those that don't know, ribs are the...
I don't like those ribs.
You don't like those ribs? Ribs are what hold the planks together on the side of the boat.
And quite frankly, I don't like the boat either.
You don't like You got that at the Thai tender store.
Yeah. I don't like that boat. Can we cut this part?
Yes.
Can you cut this out? Okay, I want to do another part. Okay. That's a silly little boat. Anyway, okay, I'm going to do another boat.
You know,
or is that enough?
No. You should have put it right here in that spot.
In this spot?
Yes.
Okay, let's do another boat.
Okay.
You're not going to use this, are you? You are, aren't you? I know you did. Okay. This is...
You know what? People want to know that you're not always perfect.
I mean, first of all, if you had an orange that big, and that orange fell... Oh, that boat! That sucker would sink.
Oh, yes. It sure would.
Poor little boat.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do another boat right over here. I'm going to start with the back.
Bigger. Do it a little bigger.
Okay, yeah, it should be a little bit bigger. So actually, they would even have that in there. So this is the drawing. But what I want to do is I want to put a little bit of edge there. So that's going to show really, really light. There we have it. This is going to have a little bench, just a little bit.
Seat. They don't call them benches.
What do they call them?
Seats. In boats. But benches.
Okay. But I have two there just in case you want to take Ambrose out. All right. Okay, so we've got our little boat.
Never mind.
Yeah, okay. All right. Now we're going to back to our little red boat. You're going to have some editing to do on this one, Ivan. All right, so here we are in here. I'm going to paint that boat using permanent red. And it's going to go right over to here. And that little point right over there is going to be...
That's the bow.
That's the bow. Thank you.
And the back end is the stern.
Yes.
Aft or stern. Well, aft is the back part.
All right. Thank you for that information.
You didn't know that?
I did know.
Port, starboard,
yeah.
forward, aft.
I did.
No, I know.
Yeah. Okay, so
not
now,
everybody does. Some people are landlubbers. They're not familiar with the terminology.
No, that's true. Okay, so I'm leaving some space.
Yeah, some reflections.
Some reflections there. Then I'm going in with my permanent, or my burnt sienna with some red in it, just to keep it toned. So I'm doing this little dark right underneath there. And that's going to bleed right into the top there. So we're going to do that with it. And just inside, I don't want to do a lot to the inside, but I'm going to do, because the light is coming from this direction, I'm just going to do a little shadow just under here with my ultramarine blue. So I've got this lovely, lovely, soft, soft, beautiful gray here. Not too dark, just underneath here to do this little section.
Did you know I was going to be a boat builder?
No, I didn't know that either.
Oh, I used to get, when I went to East St. Margaret's School, I would get off at Covey's and go in with Wilfred and Rufus and watch them building boats. They built wooden boats.
Yeah.
And mostly sailboats, some fishing boats, and then...
honorable profession.
Well, yeah, but then their boat shop burned down. I wasn't doing well in school, and I said I had enough of this. Mom said, you either go to school or go see the doctor. I said, I'll go see the doctor. And shortly...
the shadow's just in there,
yeah,
just to show that that's, you know, got some space in it, like we're doing here, you see. Like I need some space in that boat so people can get in it, Ivan.
That's the idea.
They've got to be able to get in it. You know, if they don't,
then
they
just
can't
down.
sit on top, and they go, yeah, they do. So that's what they're going to sit on. But underneath here, I'm increasing this pigment like that and like that. So
yes,
these
because
these
that's
strokes,
where the light's not getting at it.
That's right, exactly right.
So anyway, I worked. Then the boat shop burned down within a week or two after I quit school, and I went down and helped them all I could, and then they hired me. But after one winter of that, and the next winter's coming, and I said, I can't go through this another winter. This is too cold. They had a 45-gallon barrel for a stove. One end of the shop, you're nice and warm. The other were freezing. And I said, I got it. My friend talked me into going back to school. Friend Aubrey.
And but she went and got your PhD in what was it, Ivan? I'm just going to put this color in here.
You know what that stands for, don't you? Pile higher and deeper.
Now what I've done, I added burnt sienna to that red.
Oh, look at that thing now.
Oh, you got it. So this is doing this.
That's the bow.
This is the bow, from the stern to the bow. I'm just putting that beautiful, beautiful dark in there on top of that red, because that is going to create that shadow. There you are.
Yeah. Anyway, I still love boats.
Yeah, I do too. I like doing them. I like doing these Cape boats. I love the Nova Scotia.
Do you go out?
In boats?
Yeah.
I used to. Not so much anymore. I don't know what it
Ever get seasick?
Pardon?
Ever get seasick?
No.
You're lucky.
I don't get seasick.
You know what the what the saying is?
I can eat anything.
Oh, well, that's the thing. You got to eat. If you don't, the short way of getting seasick.
Yeah.
Not eat and not sleep.
Now, just a second. Just hold it this way.
All right.
I want people to see this. Right. Look what I'm doing here.
I see you're sucking out some color.
I am. I am. See what I did? See that?
Yes.
That. Do you see how they tie together?
Yes,
this is still the funniest little boat I've ever seen.
That's okay.
Don't you?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So I'm lifting that there because the light is going to hit it.
Do you know what that's called, that part of the boat? That's the gunnel.
Oh, that's the gunnel. No, this is the gunnel underneath here. And that's what, thank you for reminding me, because under the gunnel,
is that...
see, I'm I'm just not your average artist, you know. Underneath here, in this gunnel, I'm going to take some dark. I put ultramarine blue. You can see how really limited the colors are.
Yeah.
And under this gunnel, I'm putting that dark.
Yes, because there's a shadow there.
Little icing. It would have been easier, I think, if I'd made it a bit bigger. But
yeah, I know. You still went a little smaller than I would.
But
that's okay.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
As long as it's okay, dear.
You know, I was going to tell you
dark in
about
there.
seasick. You know what they say about seasickness?
No.
First you're afraid you'll die, then you're afraid you won't.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of like what I would like to show folks today. You know what I want to do is just a little, see this here? I'm going to put a little bit more green in there.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's dry now. And then, so there's a little bit more a texture. Just in that little branch. So you see here and here and here and here.
Right.
How that's working.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it'll be a little darker too. Just underneath there. Okay. So there you have it.
That's it?
Yes, I think so for today. Next time, I think what we'd like to do, some of these elements that I've put together for the last two sessions, I'd like to put some of them together so that we can do this. In the meantime, if folks practice this kind of thing here,
Yes.
what that will do, those are tools. Those are tools for the job, really.
Right.
They're what one does. It's like to paint a picture. It requires, like, it's going to be about light and dark.
Right.
It's going to be about values. It's going to be about like objects, but also things that support objects.
Okay.
Do you know, like the reflection in a sense is doing that. This shadow is making this orange really pop.
It
So
sure
is that.
Yes.
So that's really what so many of these things are about. So what I'm going to do, I think, next time is I'm going to take some of these elements and show how they work in a context of doing a painting.
Very good.
All right. Thank you very much.
And what are we going to ask the folks to do?
Oh, yes. We're going to ask them to
Subscribe.
Yes, that's right. That's what we're going to
To our
do.
channel.
Yeah, so, okay, please subscribe to our channel.
Yes.
Because it's so much fun if you do.
And the other
But
thing
look at
is,
this
we
what-
want them to share.
Oh, yes, please do. You see this?
Yes, I
This is
wondered if you
who
were
I
going to do that.
This is me.
All right.
That's what I do. And please subscribe to our channel because we are having really a very good time.
Yes.
And we want to do this and do it more and more and more because it's a blast.
And we want them to learn.
And we all have an investment in that.
We should ask them to show us their beginning of a painting, and then after their progression, they could always send us.
Oh, I'd love that.
Send
Would
us
you do
some,
that, guys? Yes.
Yeah, send us some.
Yeah, send us stuff. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do that, and then I can even critique it if they want me to, just as I go.
Yeah,
And
that'd be great.
sure, and tell them what what needs to happen.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Always
we
in
see
an
you.
encouraging way, though.
See you next time.
Okay. See ya. Bye.
Bye.